Hello, everybody. My name is Eric D. Johnson, also known as BrightShine, right here in the city of Memphis, in the county of the state of Tennessee. Today's date, Sunday afternoon, August the 24th, 2025. Time 3:01 p.m. 3:01 p.m. Thank my family, my Lord, for continuing to support, continue to keep myself employed in the administrative area, continue to further my education, my work out line, continue to pursue my social reach, down being administrative contract, my parent time, took a break and going to school. Now, I took a break from going to school, but in the future, I will be going back to school. I'm gonna go back to school, and I'm gonna earn my associate's degree, as well as my other degrees. I started school and being administrative contract and marketing, and I'm gonna go back to school. I'm gonna earn my associate's degree in being administrative contract and marketing, as well as other degrees. Now, I'm gonna start my Facebook Live. Hello, everybody. My name is Eric D. Johnson, also known as BrightShine, right here in the city of Memphis, is in the county sheriff, is in the state of Tennessee. And today's date, Sunday afternoon, August the 24th, 2025. Time 3:02 p.m. First, say thank you to my family, my supporters, for the continued encourage support. I'll continue to keep myself employed in the Memphis tri-state area. I'm going to continue to further my education by going back to school and earn my associate's degree and be administrative contract and marketing, as well as other degrees. Now, Now, first I want to say thank you to my Lord and Savior Jesus Christ, the Son of God, for all the blessings and the guides He provides us all with. Thank you for thank for all the guidance and the blessing that my Lord and Savior Jesus Christ bless us all with. We pray about these wars that are being fought, that it can be peace worldwide, and we pray about these natural disasters, because there are a variety of natural disasters, and pray about all of these natural disasters, because we living on this earth, we need love, we need Jesus' help to help us. So like as I stated on my last video, we're going to continue to be on prehistoric religion indefinitely. Now there are books on prehistoric religion, as well as traditional ancient African religion. There are books at the library, the main library, for all of us to read, to refer to. And so as I stated, we're gonna be on prehistoric religion indefinitely. Prehistory. Now, there's also a timeline of religion. Time. Now we have space-time. And you also have deep time. The origin of life. In other words, a biogenesis. The history of life. Now, there's a origin of life timeline, also called the timeline of the evolutionary history of life. Now, human evolution. Now, this is the timeline of human evolution. Natural science. Now, there's a list of life sciences. And then you have the physical sciences. Now, the geologic time scale or geological time scale. All right. Now, read this again. Prehistoric religion is the religious practice of prehistoric cultures. Prehistory, the period before written records, makes up the bulk of human experience. Over 99% of human experience occurred during the Paleolithic. So like I said earlier, there are books pertaining to prehistoric religion. like we said, over 99% of human experience occurred during the Paleolithic period alone. In Paleolithic. The Paleolithic, 33.3 million, 11,700 years ago. Also called the Old Stone Age. Is a period in human prehistory that is distinguished by the original development of stone tools, and which represents almost the entire period of human prehistoric technology. It extends from the earliest known use of stone tools by hominins, 3.3 million years ago, to the end of the Pleistocene. Now, pay attention. The Paleolithic age in Europe preceded the Mesolithic age. And what is that? Mesolithic. The Mesolithic age, or Middle Stone Age, is the old world archaeological period between the Upper Paleolithic and the Neolithic. The term Epipaleolithic is often used synonymously, especially for outside northern Europe and for the corresponding period in the Levant and Caucasus. Although the date of the transition varies geographically by several thousand years, during the Paleolithic age, hominins grouped together in small societies such as bands and subsisted by gathering plants, fishing, and hunting or scavenging wild animals. The Paleolithic age is characterized by the use of knapped stone tools, although at the time humans also used wood and bone tools. Other organic commodities were adapted for use as tools, including leather and vegetable fibers. However, due to rapid decomposition, these have not survived to any great degree. Now, about 50,000 years ago, a marked increase in the diversity of artifacts occurred. In Africa, bone artifacts and the first art appeared in the archaeological record. The first evidence of human fishing is also noted from artifacts in places such as Blombos Cave in South Africa. Archaeologists classify artifacts of the last 50,000 years into many different categories. such as projectile points, engraving tools, sharp knife blades, and drilling and piercing tools. Humankind gradually evolved from early members of the genus Homo, such as Homo habilis, who used simple stone tools, into anatomically modern humans, as well as behaviorally modern humans by the Upper Paleolithic. During the end of the Paleolithic Age, specifically the Middle or Upper Paleolithic Age, humans began to produce the earliest works of art and to engage in religious or spiritual behavior, such as burial and ritual. Conditions during the Paleolithic Age went through a set of glacial and interglacial periods in which the climate periodically fluctuated between warm and cool temperatures. By 50,000, 40,000 BP, the first humans set foot in Australia. By 40,000, 45,000 BP, humans lived at 61 degrees north latitude in Europe. By 30,000 BP, Japan was reached, and by 27,000 BP, humans were present in Siberia, above the Arctic Circle. By the end of the Upper Paleolithic Age, humans had crossed Beringia and expanded throughout the Americas continent. So that's the Paleolithic. And so, prehistoric cultures spanned the globe and existed for over 2.5 million years. Their religious practices were many and varied, and the study of them is difficult due to the lack of written records describing the details of their faiths. The cognitive capacity for religion likely first emerged in Homo sapiens, or anatomically modern humans, although some scholars posit the existence of Neanderthal religion and sparse evidence exists for earlier ritual practice. Cognitive of relating to or being conscious. Intellectual activity as thinking, remembering, reasoning, or using language. Cognition, the process of gaining knowledge through thought, experience, and the senses. Cognition, the process of gaining knowledge through thought, experience, and the senses. Cognition, Cognition refers to the broad set of mental processes that relate to acquiring knowledge and understanding through thought, experience, and the senses. It encompasses all aspects of intellectual functions and processes such as perception, attention, thought, imagination, intelligence, the formation of knowledge, memory and working memory, judgment and evaluation, reasoning and computation, problem solving and decision making, comprehension and production of language. Cognitive processes use existing knowledge to discover new knowledge. And also, cognitive processes are analyzed from very different perspectives within different contexts, notably in the fields of linguistics, musicology, anesthesia, neuroscience, psychiatry, psychology, education, philosophy, anthropology, biology, systemics, logic, and computer science. These and other approaches to the analysis of cognition, such as embodied cognition, are synthesized in the developing field of cognitive science. A progressively autonomous academic discipline. Now, the cognitive capacity for religion likely first emerged in Homo sapiens, or anatomically modern humans. Although some scholars posit the existence of Neanderthal religion, and sparse evidence exists for earlier ritual practice. Excluding sparse and controversial evidence, in the Middle Paleolithic, around 300,000 to 50,000 years ago, religion emerged with certainty in the Upper Paleolithic, around 50,000 years ago. Upper Paleolithic religion was possibly shamanic, oriented around the phenomenon of special spiritual leaders entering trance states to receive esoteric spiritual knowledge. These practices are extrapolated based on the rich and complex body of art left behind by Paleolithic artists, particularly the elaborate cave art and enigmatic Venus figurines they produced. Now, all right. see. Alright, let me see. Okay. Let me see. Click over here to, let me see. Okay, let's see here. All right, let me see here. Okay, so okay. Early expansions of hominids out of Africa. So, out of Africa. Now, see, this is what the PhD wants you to know. When we're talking about this early expansion of hominins out of Africa, when we're talking about prehistory, they're talking about the archaic humans. Several expansions of populations of archaic humans, genus Homo. Pay attention to them words, because when we refer to the taxonomic table, to that graph, those words species and genus. So we're talking about genus Homo out of Africa and throughout Eurasia, took place in the course of the lower Paleolithic. So the lower Paleolithic, this is what the PhD been telling me. There was no cognitive evidence of religion during the lower Paleolithic. Stone tools, this would be why they call it Paleolithic, because it's the old Stone Age. In the course of the lower Paleolithic and into the beginning middle Paleolithic, between about 2.1 million and 0.2 million years ago. These expansions are collectively known as Outer Africa 1. In contrast to the expansion of anatomically modern humans, Homo sapiens, into Eurasia, which may have begun shortly after 0.2 million years ago, known in this context as Outer Africa 2. The earliest presence of Homo, or indeed any hominin, outside of Africa dates to close to 2 million years ago. 2018 study identified possible hominin presence in Shangqin, central China, as early as 2.212 million years based on magnetostratigraphic dating of the lowest layer containing what may possibly be stone artifacts. The oldest known human skeletal remains outside of Africa are from Dmanisi, Georgia, and are dated to 1.8 million. These remains are classified as Homo erectus georgicus. Later waves of expansion are proposed around 1.4 million. Early Acheulean industries associated with Homo antecessor and cleaver producing Acheulean groups associated with Homo heidelbergensis. Until the early 1980s, early humans were thought to have been restricted to the African continent in the early Pleistocene, or until about 0.8 million years ago. Hominin migrations outside East Africa were apparently rare in the early Pleistocene, leaving a fragmentary record of events. Now, the early dispersals, pre-Homo hominin, expansion out of Africa is suggested by the presence of Gregopithecus and Oranopithecus. Now, the first one, Gregopithecus, is an extinct genus of hominid that lived in Southeast Europe during the late Miocene, around 7.2 million years ago. Originally identified by a single lower jawbone bearing teeth found in Pergos, Basilicis, Athens, Greece, 1944. And Oranopithecus, found in Greece and Anatolia and dated to 8 million years ago. But these are probably homininae, but not hominini. Now that's what they were talking about, this taxonomic. When you say homininae, is a subfamily of the family Hominidae. This subfamily includes two tribes, Hominini and Gorillini, both having extant species as well as extinct species. So that's what they're saying about this Greco-Pithecus and Organopithecus. Possibly related are the Tracholus footprints found in Crete, dated to close to 6 million years ago. The age of the footprints were later re-estimated to be 6.5 million years ago, or 35 million years, 0.35 million years older than previous estimations. Another re-estimation by Wilhelm Young, Zacharias, and Lucas Lorenz interpreted the purported footprints to have originated 3 million years ago, and doubt if they were footprints or the hominins had made the footprints because of the shallow marine setting and a separation of Crete from mainland Greece and Turkey in the late Pliocene by the South Aegean Basin. Now, Australopithecine are generally in the species in the related genera of Australopithecus and Paranthropus. May also include members of Kenyanthropus, Ardipithecus, and Paranthropus. And they emerged around 5.6 million years ago in East Africa, the Afar Depression. Gracile Australopithecines, Australopithecus afarensis emerged in the same region around 4 million years ago. The earliest known retouch tools were found in Lomekwi, Kenya, and date back to 3.3 million in the late Pliocene. They might be the product of Australopithecus garhi or Paranthropus aethiopicus. The two known hominins contemporary with the two, genus Homo, is assumed to have emerged by around 2.8 million years ago, with Homo habilis being found at Lake Turkana, Kenya. The delineation of the human genus Homo from Australopithecus is somewhat contentious, for which reason the subordinate term hominin is often used to include both. Hominin technically includes chimpanzees as well as pre-human species as old as 10 million years old. The separation of homininae into homonini and gorilla. The earliest known hominid presence outside of Africa dates close to 2 million years ago. A 2018 study claims evidence for human presence in Shanxi, central China, as early as 2.12 million years ago, based on magnetostratigraphic dating of the lowest layer containing stone artifacts. It has been suggested that Homo florensis was descended from such an early expansion. It is not clear whether these earliest hominins leaving Africa should be considered Homo habilis, or a form of early Homo or late Australopithecus closely related to Homo habilis, or a very early form of Homo erectus. In any case, the morphology of Homo florensis has been found to show greatest similarity with Australopithecus sediba, Homo habilis, and Dmanisi man. Raising the possibility that the ancestors of Homo florensis left Africa before the appearance of Homo erectus. A phylogenetic analysis published in 2017 suggests that Homo florensis was descended from a species, presumably Australopithecine, ancestral to Homo habilis, making it a sister species either to Homo habilis or to a minimally habilis erectus ergaster sapiens clade, and its line is older than Homo erectus itself. On the basis of this classification, Homo florensis is hypothesized to represent a hitherto unknown and very early migration out of Africa, dating to before 2.1 million years ago. A similar conclusion is suggested by the date of 2.1 million. For the oldest Shanxi artifacts. Okay. Let me see here. All right. Now, what time is it? Okay, we leave. Okay, what? Yeah. Now, human evolution. We're gonna touch on that because okay, let me see. Now, let me, okay, this is, Now we over here on the Pleistocene. Now, the cutoff of the Pleistocene is preceding Pliocene. So the Pleistocene, referred to colloquially as the Ice Age, is a geological epoch that lasts from 2.58 million to 11,700 years ago, spanning the Earth's most recent period of repeated glaciations. Before a change was finally confirmed in 2009 by the International Union of Geological Science, the cutoff of the Pleistocene in the preceding Pliocene was regarded as being 1.806 million years before present. Publications from earlier years may use either definition of the period. The end of the Pleistocene corresponds with the end of the last glacial period and also with the end of the Paleolithic age used in archaeology. The name is a combination of ancient Greek. Now, the aridification. Now let's click on that. What we talking about here? The aridification is the process of a region becoming increasingly arid. And so, the aridification and cooler trends of the preceding Neogene were continued in the Pleistocene. The climate was strongly variable depending on the glacial cycle, oscillating between cold glacial periods and warmer interglacials, with the sea levels being up to 120 meters, 390 feet lower than present at peak glaciation, allowing a periodic connection of Asia and North America via Beringia land bridge and the covering of most of northern North America by the Laurentide ice sheet. At the end of the preceding Pliocene, the previously isolated North and South American continents were joined by the Isthmus of Panama, causing a faunal interchange between the two regions and changing ocean circulation patterns. With the onset of glaciation in the northern hemisphere occurring around 2.7 million years ago. During the early Pleistocene, archaic humans of the genus Homo originated in Africa and spread throughout Afro-Eurasia. The end of the early Pleistocene is marked by the mid-Pleistocene transition. With the cyclicity of glacial cycles changing from 41,000 year cycles to asymmetric 100,000-year cycles, making the climate variation more extreme. The late Pleistocene witnessed the spread of modern humans. Outside Africa, as well as the extinction of all other human species. Humans also spread to the Australian continent and the Americas for the first time. The late Pleistocene, from around 50,000 years ago onwards, was marked by the extinction of most large terrestrial animals outside of Africa, an extinction event otherwise unprecedented in the geological record due to its extreme size bias. Most authors suggest that climate change, the expansion of modern humans, or the combination of both were the likely cause of the extinction. Now, okay, we still have a light source to turn on at night. Meditate. Okay. There's the first thing. Okay. Let's see here. Let me see here. All right, we over here on the prehistory. I'm gonna scroll down here. Scroll. We're talking about the Stone Age. We got that little picture out of Africa 1 and out of Africa 2. talking about the Paleolithic, means Old Stone Age, and begin with the first use of stone tools. The Paleolithic is the earliest period of the Stone Age. It extends from the earliest known use of stone tools by hominins 3.3 million years ago to the end of the Pleistocene by 11,650 before present. The early part of the Paleolithic is called the Lower Paleolithic, as an excavation that appears underneath the Upper Paleolithic, beginning with the earliest stone tools dated to around 3.3 million years ago at the Mekwai site in Kenya. These tools predate the genus Homo and were probably used by Kenyanthropus. Evidence of control of fire by early hominins during the Lower Paleolithic era is uncertain and has at best limited scholarly support. The most widely accepted claim is that Homo erectus or Homo ergaster made fires between 790,000 and 690,000 BP in a site at Nat Yaakov, Israel. And the use of fire enabled early humans to cook food, provide warmth, have a light source, deter animals at night, and meditate. Early Homo sapiens originated some 300,000 years ago, ushering in the Middle Paleolithic. Anatomic changes indicating modern language capacity also arise during the Middle Paleolithic. That's because the early Homo sapiens. So now we're talking about language capacity, see, cognition. And the language capacity also arrived during the Middle Paleolithic. During the Middle Paleolithic era, there's the first definitive evidence of human use of fire. So the definite use of fire, there's no question about it, during the Middle Paleolithic. It was still during the Stone Age. It wasn't in the Bronze Age, wasn't in the Iron Age. It was during the Stone Age. And a lot of this stuff about humans was started during the Stone Age. Now, before the Stone Age, you had the archaic humans, the Paleolithic. The Old Stone Age. In the Old Stone Age is during the Lower Paleolithic. Now, sites in Zambia have charred logs, charcoal, and carbonized plants that have been dated to 180,000 BP before present. The systematic burial of the dead, music, prehistoric art, and the use of increasingly sophisticated multi-part tools are highlights of the Middle Paleolithic. The Upper Paleolithic extends from 50,000 to 12,000 years ago, with the first organized settlements and blossoming of artistic work. And throughout the Paleolithic, humans generally lived as nomadic hunter-gatherers. Hunter-gatherer societies tended to be very small and egalitarian, although hunter-gatherer societies with abundant resources or advanced food storage techniques sometimes develop sedentary lifestyles with complex social structures such as chiefdoms and social stratification. Long distance contacts may have been established, as in the case of indigenous Australian highways known as song lines. Okay. Now, the Paleolithic, and then you have another area, the Mesolithic, or Middle Stone Age. So, like I said, the Mesolithic came after the Paleolithic. But I've been reading the information and browsing. Now, I'm not gonna go too far into the Mesolithic because we're gonna come back on. Before I end today's video, I'm gonna click over here. All right, let me see. Okay, we're gonna start paying attention to some of this information. All right. We over here on time because it's a lot of math involved. So that's why I want to not overlook. Now we over here on time. When you come to the definition, then you go down to measurement. There's some things being said. Just like time is one of the 7 fundamental physical quantities. Now, what's a physical quantity? Here we go. For example, is a property of a material or system that can be quantified by measurement. A physical quantity can be expressed as a value, which is the algebraic multiplication of a numerical value and a unit of measurement. And again, a physical quantity is a property of a material or system that can be quantified Now, when you put the cursor on that quantity, we got to deal with math. In mathematics and empirical science, quantification is the act of counting and measuring that maps human sense observations and experiences into quantities. Quantification in this sense is fundamental to the scientific method. All right. And so, okay, a physical quantity can be expressed as a value, which is the algebraic multiplication of a numerical value. And a number is a mathematical object used to count, measure, and label. The most basic examples are the natural numbers, 1, 2, 3, 4, and so forth, in a unit of measurement. And a unit of measurement or unit of measure is a definite magnitude of a quantity defined and adopted by convention or by law that is used as a standard for measurement of the same kind of quantity. Now, for example, the physical quantity mass. And mass is an intrinsic property of a body. It was traditionally believed to be related to the quantity of matter in a body until the discovery of the atom and particle physics. It was found that different atoms and different elementary particles, theoretically with the same amount of matter, have nonetheless different masses. All right, so like I said, physical quantity. I might click back. But we talking about math, so just understand this. We talking about a lot of math. Go ahead and get ready to end today's video, and we're gonna come back. So but just remember, it's a lot of math. It's a lot of math. So like I said, you're dealing with time, and I already knew this was gonna happen. As soon as you said something about time, I already knew it's gonna be some math. It's gonna be math. And dealing with all this geological time scale and all this about the Miocene, Pleistocene, all this, time scale and deep time and all this, it's going to be math. It's all it is math. Because when you talk about the climate and all this, you talking math. It's math. All math. Natural science. And then it breaks down into your list of life sciences or biology, and then you get into your physical science. All you dealing with is math. It's all math. All the instruments that's used, carbon dating, all the math. But like I said, I'm gonna get ready to go ahead and get ready to end today's video, and gonna come back on my next video, and we're gonna get right back on prehistoric religion and all the different fields of science, but this good thing we got a library. That was the library to refer to. And that the thing about Wikipedia and encyclopedias, as well as a dictionary, is that you can refer to those same books that the writer, or that the person or persons who contributed information, you can refer to those same books, or as well as other books. Books are important. So, books on prehistoric religion, books on traditional ancient African religion, books on animism, books on shamanism, and so on and so forth, books on math. All the books are available and there for our use, so no need to panic, no need to stress out. Like I said, no need to get stressed all out. It's interesting thing to do is refer to information, to broaden your horizons, So, there ain't no different, in different time. We got all the time we need. As long as God blesses us with life, we can refer to the books and go from there. And so, again, my name is Eric D. Johnson. I was on BrightShine. I live right here in the city of Memphis. It's in the county of Shevins in the state of Tennessee. And thank my family, my support for your continued encouraged support. And like I said, on all my videos, I always, I started going to college, taking college courses over 5 years ago. I didn't finish. The subject area was business, business administration, contract and marketing, but I didn't finish. I do intend to go back to school and earn my social degree, because I started out in the social degree, and earn my social degree, and then progress to the next level. Continue to further my education, and not just settle on a social degree, because that's not what you're supposed to do anyway. You earn your social degree, you're supposed to automatically advance on to especially in that type of field. You're supposed to, you're supposed to always advance to the next level, and going to your bachelor's degree level, and possibly to your master's degree as well as PhD, But I do intend to go back to school, and I'm still working on my music, my idea that I have. I'm still working on it. Because it's something I'm gonna do. I had things I had to do to deal with entertainment and all this. All the, people trying to lie and all this kind of stuff, and all that kind of stuff I had to deal with. But being aware, being cognizant of the situation, of the circumstance. Now, the time is right, and just keep working on it. There's gonna come a day when going advance, gonna actually, take it to the next level, man. Like I've been saying all the time. And then, the good thing about radio, it's just like a reference to me. Because when I hear things, just like a YouTube video, it's like a reference to me. You get accustomed because you know been breaking, just like gospel music, for example. What we refer to as different genres. Sometimes people live in different geographic regions, and it may sound different. It's still music, and then what they'll label their music one way, and then people be playing similar instruments in another location, probably another, and then they'll call the music, another label, But music is enjoyed by people all over the world, and people use, music to consider the art, as a form of expression, and so, and like I say, the radio as well as YouTube, television, things of that nature. But it's a lot of good music in the past. A lot of good music, and sometimes I hear it and I be like, man, that was far from my opinion, based on my opinion, it was good music, because the people were just really just making music to enjoy themselves. Some music they consider to be new, just like when rock and roll came around. Not saying that the instruments were new, like drums and pianos, and then the guitar really just had advanced, because it used to be just acoustic guitars, but then you came out with the electric bass guitar and electric guitars. That really changed a lot of things about music. And so some of the style, tempo and things of this nature. But it was still, a lot of music. It's good music, because it was just people really just enjoying themselves. It really was. It was just people just who enjoyed having a good time, and they just made music for their purpose. They to relax. They weren't going to work or nothing. It was about after you got off work, for example, adults. When you wanted to work, you was like having a party or some kind of social gathering, and you needed some form of entertainment. So what the guitars, the tambourines, and the piano, the violin, the fiddle, all these different, the banjo, even the didgeridoo. People did those things just like music. Then with the music came singing, and what else, dancing. And people enjoyed themselves. And people made music for that reason, as a means of enjoying themselves. And that's what people like to do. They like to sing and dance with music. And so I'm still working on, not work, but I am. And so it's a work in progress, and just I'm working on it. I'm working on it. And it's good music. It's a lot of music in the past that my opinion, sometimes, a lot of times I listen to things, I be like, man, some good music, I mean, different, irregardless about the time period, but I just mean, because personally, people did songwriting, and then they would produce, especially when they came to the period when they sheet music, when people actually began to publish, because before that period, people would do things, they ain't really just, even if they did write it down, it didn't, get no financial benefits out of it. But that way they'll know, like, so and so made this music, wrote it, and produced the music for it, and made a fortune out of it. Because it wasn't no recording industry then. So if anybody made it in the kind of finance, they would be traveling. People just go around traveling, playing music. Then they get paid that way. But we live in a day and time now. You got all these different streaming services. Record. With CDs and YouTube and all that. So it ain't nothing that I'm not doing, but I am. I'm working on it. But like I've been saying all the time, I had to deal with people trying to lie. And, you try to cheat. You try to rob and steal. Trying to take all the kind of so-called shortcuts. It ain't gonna benefit you. I mean, but I'm working on my music. I ain't abandoned anything, and so I'm working on. Then one thing I know is that people, sample other people's music and didn't even give credit to the artists, and they just took whatever other people did and went from there, which is whack. It's whack, man. It's whack. But I'm gonna come back on my next video. We're gonna pick right back up on prehistoric religion, and don't forget that talking about prehistoric religion and all this stuff about natural science, and then you got life science and physical science, math. It's so much math, man. Like I said, that's the reason why indefinitely we're gonna be talking about prehistoric religion, because it's so much math, period. It's so much math, period. Look at it. You take care of yourself. I want to thank my Lord and Savior Jesus Christ, Son of God, for all the blessings and guidance He provides us all with. Continue to pray about wars being fought, and continue to pray about natural disasters. And you take care of yourself. Wish each and every one of you very best.